Hello everyone and welcome to Claret and Booze. My name's Nick, this is my daily ramble. I hope you're all well. As always, if you're new to this channel, please subscribe, drop a like on a video because it does really help us. And if you don't know already, please go and visit the Kent and Sussex Tea and Coffee Company. I'll get my finger in the right place at some point. The Kent and Sussex Tea and Coffee Company, our channel sponsor. If you don't know who they are, they sell tea and coffee. They're based in Kent. They're West Ham fans. Better than the supermarket, cheaper, and it's literally far better as well. Tea bags, loose leaves, coffee, beans, coffee, grounds, whatever you want, it's all there. Links in the description. Use our discount code Claret15 and you'll get a discount. All right? Okay, right. Lopetegui. I'm not going to call him J-Lo because I'm sort of bored of that now and everyone's calling him that. So I'm going to call him by his name. Julian Lopetegui has been announced as the West Ham manager. He has. And I've got to be honest, I didn't expect to feel as excited as I actually do. It feels really final now. I know that David Moyes' exit and his departure was announced, but now somebody else is in the hot seat. Now it feels real. Now it feels like this is a new era that we're in. I think it's brilliant. Was he my choice? No, made that clear already. He wasn't. But you know, my choice is it is largely irrelevant. It's probably a bit of a shame that the Ruben Amorim thing leaked out because that got everybody's hopes up in terms of a different profile of manager. But look, make no bones about it, Julian Lopetegui is a million times better than David Moyes. This is a hefty upgrade. I know that there's going to be a lot of people that will disagree with that, but I don't buy it. There's also that thing around Spanish managers at the moment. Do you know what? They're doing all right. They're doing well. Look at Emery. I know you can't put them all in the same category, but generally, Spanish managers are doing quite well. So, yeah, I'm quite happy with this. His CV is fantastic. Did he play sort of a bit more of a dull brand of football at Wolves? He did when he was there, but he was there to fight a relegation battle. That's what he was there to do, was to make them resilient and get them up from the bottom of the league to safety, which he did. So he was going to be playing a different style of football. He hasn't really got a set style. He can be pragmatic, but it's a different type of football. It's controlling the game. That's what it is. So we will need technical players in order to be able to deliver that. I think it's going to be brilliant. We're going to have a lot of players that will flourish and grow and develop under Lopetegui. And we're going to have a lot of players that are going to go backwards. And we'll talk about that after. So, yeah, look, at the end of the day, I was never willing to commit to Lopetegui because the whole time throughout this whole last 2 weeks, I know it's been out there and it's been released by Sky, it's been released by all the ITKs, he's signed, it's done. Romano said 2 weeks ago, it's done, he's put pen to paper. But at the end of the day, I was getting messages that there were issues behind the scenes, which there could or there couldn't have been, I don't know at this point. But whatever happens, whatever the reasons were, whether there was or there wasn't, it's done, it's dusted, he's signed, he's been photographed with Tim Stein and Mark Noble. They're both spoken about him as well. Now, look, you can't take too much notice of what anyone says, including Lopetegui in this instance, because he gave a very, very, very good interview. The same with Noble, the same with Tim Stein. It's all going to be promotion now, and rightly so. But the good thing is that Tim is still here, and Lopetegui is being referred to as the head coach. Now, what that means by default is that Tim is the director of football. I would like it to be made public that Tim's title has changed, just because is he sporting director or is that Noble? But he's not a director of football yet. You know, that kind of title was removed when he joined. He was supposed to be getting that, but then he had to do a bit of a sideways step because Moyes wouldn't play ball. Well, I'd like that to be permanently announced, but it does look like we've got the perfect structure in place now. You know, as we know, over the past year, Tim's been getting his feet under the table. He's recruited his brother, Maritz, I think that's his name, isn't it? Maritz Stuyton, who also was kind of key in bringing in Hans Gruber, Maximilian Hans, who's the data analyst. You know, that's kind of going to be how we're identifying players now, and also measuring performance as well. So that's going to be good in terms of developing players that we've got, both through the youth academy. There's other members of staff now. We've got a real structure in place. And my God, Lopetegui's come with a bit of an army of coaches. We have kept one coach in, I want to say Valerie. You know what I mean? The Spanish goalkeeping coach. He's staying. The rest of them are gone. Nolan, McKinley, even Heitinger. He's gone. You know, so it's a clean sweep, new start. A lot of people were saying, why wasn't Nolan offered a role in the academy, kept there. You don't know that he wasn't, but it would be a backward step. It would be a lesser role with less money. Nolan probably wants to go out and build his own career now. He probably does. And look, I'm fully. I was so sick of everything over the last 2 years. This is refreshing. This is a completely and utterly, for those players that were there, any disgruntlement that there was, that conflict is gone. You've got literally a blank canvas now. So those players have all got a clean slate. They're all going to be assessed on merit, because that's important. And in terms of talking about merit, that's exactly how I'm going to assess Lopetegui. I've already said he wasn't my choice. There would have been other managers that I would have preferred that we would have gone for. But I'm excited about this. I do think he's going to be a success. I do. I do think that we're probably going to enjoy a style of football. I do think that he's going to be more of an attraction to players that are coming into the club than Moyes was. And Tim managed to bring top players in Kudus and Alvarez and Mavropanos with Moyes there. So Lopetegui is a far higher profile manager. He just is. He just is. And yes, there's plenty of bad stories, that you can link to Lopetegui, but there's good stories as well. If you have a look at some of the testimonies from players that are talking about him once he's gone, not whilst he's their manager, there's a lot of good testimonies out there, including that of Craig Dawson, our own Craig Dawson, who spoke sort of glowingly of him. He said it felt like we had another player on the pitch when you had him on the sidelines because he's so animated. He is a tactician. He is. It will never be a one-size-fits-all. He is going to be, tasked with bringing youth players through. So this pathway that the youth academy will be concerned with. So the likes of Mark Noble was working closely with Tim. They're all going to be working closely together, and it's all going to be about developing talent, because that youth academy that we've got, some of the products that we've got there, we've got to be bringing them through and giving them meaningful minutes in the Premier League. You've got to, that's how you develop them. That's how you increase their value. Even if you're not going to keep them all, you want to create a player, you've got to play them straight away. I think Gary said it the other day. George Murphy was worth nothing until he made those appearances the other day. Now he's worth 10 times what he was before. This is how you do it. This is how you do it. So he does use a squad. It's not just a first team, that kind of that secure first team environment where everybody knows their place. That isn't going to be the case. He will want a good, solid squad. And what I do like about the way that he plays is out of possession, you're aggressive. You don't stand there. You don't block. You do press. I mean, there is a bit. I suppose there is a bit of a block in some cases, depending on who you're playing. But it's more of a mid block than a low block. So when you're playing better opposition, someone like Man City, you physically can't outplay with football. Then he'll revert to different tactics for different teams. But it isn't a low block. It isn't sit in your own 18-yard box. But on the whole, it's aggression out of possession. Lots of pressing, controlling the game, being patient, and creating chances, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be completely different. It isn't the swashbuckling gun-ho style that I was hoping for, but then again, I'm a little bit mad. This is a safer option. It's a safer option. I think that with the likes of Lopetegui, we've probably got more chance of being a little bit more successful earlier on, because a new guy that came in with a style like that, like an Arne Slot at West Ham, you're talking about completely changing the culture of everything. And that would make almost all of the playing staff redundant as well. Whereas this is kind of a gradual progression, and he'll work with the tools that he's got, but we are going to be adding to it. You look at the players that we've been linked with, the centre-back from Brazil, Bruno, and Wesley, we spoke about bloody weeks ago. Those two players, it looks like very, very close to coming in. Wesley will excite us. He's fantastic. Don't laugh at me, but I've heard him referred to as the Brazilian Mbappe, all right? Those are the expectations placed on this guy's shoulders. He is very, very good, very tricky, very quick, very direct, brilliant in front of goal. Really, really good. And the centre-back's a monster. We're linked with quite a few players. That Jota Silva, is it, from the Portuguese league, Guimarães or something like that? I do hope we sign him, by the way. He's available for quite a good fee. I don't know why. I can't quite work that out, because he's another baller. Plus, I can use my Jota song. He's Portuguese and his name's Jota. That could make a comeback. But I am very excited now, so we will start focusing on the rebuild. What I'm hoping is that the rumours that have been put out, not the rumours, but the information that's been put out there by the likes of X, where it says that Tim and Lopetegui have been working with each other for a long while. Targets have been identified, and we're going to be making moves early in the window. This is how we will know if West Ham have changed, because if we do our business early, that's something we've never done before. If we go out there, all the deals are queued up, and we go out there and we get these deals done so that the players that come in have got a full pre-season, or at least as much of a pre-season as they can have, when you take into consideration the disruption of the Euros and the American tour that we've got coming up as well. We need to get these players in early so that Lopetegui and his team can just embed their philosophy and get everybody to buy in. It's really important. You can't leave it until the last minute, So I do think that we're going to be getting some silly links. I mean, there are players from Wolves that I wouldn't mind. Max Kilman is one of them. I think he'd be brilliant for us, but it could just be a link. I can't. I don't know. I think we're just going to be seeing a load of spurious links. We'll try and rationalise them as best that we can, but we're going to be linked with a whole raft of players, and 99% of the links are going to be shit. But I do think that we're going to be getting some quite a few players in this window. I really, really do. The other one is, players that are going out. I hope that Paqueta doesn't go, but there's rumours out there to say that Paqueta has signed a contract with Man City, which he can't have done because his contract at West Ham hasn't expired yet. But that doesn't mean they haven't agreed a deal in principle. I hope it's wrong. I hope that Lopetegui gets a chance to talk to Paqueta, I hope he does, because it would be great to get a full season out of these guys with a different manager that plays football. Imagine that. But if he does go, it will be for a hefty fee. It will be for 85 million, and that is a shed load of money for Tim to go out there and reinvest. And we've already seen what he can do when he's got money to spend. So either way, it's not the end of the world. I've got a bit of a soft spot for Paqueta. I really have. So I would be a little bit sad if he moved on. We know that Kudus is staying. Now, look, we've got loads of players at the club already that I feel would excel under Julen Lopetegui's style, because I've been learning more and more about the manager and about particularly how he likes to play. And it is more of a technical game. So the types of players that I feel will excel under Lopetegui, Emerson's going to be good. Areola is going to be fantastic because he does like a goalkeeper that can use his feet. And look, Areola can, or at least he could before he came to us. That might have been coached out of him a little bit, but nothing that a little bit of time on a training ground can't fix. But he was very good. His distribution was amazing. Particularly when he was at Fulham. That is the style of keeper that he is. He's just turned into a bit more of a basic stopper for us because he's had to. He's penned in his own box. Would you penned on his line? He can't move outside of that because fucking Zuma's standing 3 feet in front of him. So that's fine. Our defenders, Zuma, he'll probably stay because of that. We'll be able to get rid of him. Ogbonna's going to go. I hope that we can keep Aguirre, because I think that he could be fantastic in this type of team, in this type of setup. Mavropanos is great. We do need another proper, solid centre-back, a leader. I've said it before. Emerson's going to be fantastic, but we need another left-back. Whether or not that's Ollie Scholes that we can bring through, he might be a little bit too young. I don't know. I'd like to see him come through as an understudy. There's talk that the clause has been triggered in Cresswell's contract, extending it by another year. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm not going to moan about it too much. I'm assuming there would be reasons why, other than football, because I can't see him playing much next year. So maybe it is just to add some semblance of continuity at the club, because there's going to be such a culture change. So having somebody like Cresswell, who's been at the club for such a long time, he knows what West Ham's all about, and maybe that's part of the thinking. And also, if we are going to be bringing through somebody like a Scholes, then, who better to mentor him? Maybe that's what they're thinking. I don't know. Like I say, I can't see him playing very much. I can't. I think Soufal's going to struggle. We know he works hard, but in a Lopetegui team, you've got to be good technically. Soufal isn't. He's not. I think the one thing that he can do on occasion is deliver a good cross, but that's about it. His interchange, vision, and quick passing and stuff like that is awful. His pass completion is shit. Really bad, unfortunately. So I do think that Soufal will be one that will be replaced. I'm not saying he'll be removed from the club. I think he's a great player to have as a backup, but I do think that we'll see a new player come in. Ryan Sessegnon's been linked with us. He's on a free transfer from Spurs. He's 24, I believe. He is a left winger and a left wing back, but he's also good on the right as well. He can play both sides. He's a utility player. That could be a deal that's already been done. That might be why they're looking at moving on Johnson. I don't know what your thoughts are on that. Would you rather keep Johnson, or would Sessegnon be an upgrade in terms of that kind of squad player? He's a good player, Sessegnon, but he's had a lot of injuries. So providing his wages are not extortionate, it could be a good deal, you know. I know he's not wanted by Spurs, but you know, one man's trash is another man's treasure, isn't it? You know, it'd be lovely, wouldn't it? Imagine if we was to get someone like Sessegnon in. He has an amazing season, ends up in the England team. You don't know. Funnier things have happened. But I do trust the judgment of Tim and their analysis team. So if they choose to go with a player like that, then fine. In midfield, you all know what I'm going to say. Souček, 100%. For me, if we don't sell him, we're going to lose money on him, because he's probably at the peak of his value at the moment. If we was to sell him after having played Moyes ball for so long and being quite effective, although not so much in the past 2 seasons, this is the most value you're going to get out of him. He's going to be exploited in a team that play possession-based football. He just is. He's going to be exploited. He's going to look shit. And I think his value is going to dip. He's going to dive. So I think if you're going to move Souček on, you move him on now. James Ward-Prowse, I don't think they're going to sell him. I don't think they are, because they'll lose too much money on him. You know, we paid a lot. We paid almost 30 million for him. I don't think we'd get anywhere near that now. And he probably is another player. He's professional. He's English. He ticks a homegrown box. And he'll be good to have around the place, I suppose. And he is a good squad player. But looking at the way that the Lopetegui teams have played, I don't see a place for him in the starting lineup, personally. He has powerful, explosive midfielders. That's what he has. Or you have these kind of deep-lying, amazing playmakers that can spray balls about, but I don't see Ward-Prowse as any of that. He's kind of a mixture of everything, but it's all centred around these set pieces, and I've not been that impressed with his set pieces, I've got to be honest. But we'll see what happens with James Ward-Prowse. It might be someone that they can work with. Flynn Downs is a player that I'm not too sure on. I'd love to see him come back. I really would. I think he's a really talented player. He smashed it in the Championship. Absolutely smashed it. I'd love to see him given a chance, a clean slate. That would be a big tick box for me from Lopetegui, if he could be that open-minded. Be that open-minded with the player. Bring him in and maybe give him some time, because he's, you know, there is a player there. There really is. And with Alvarez and Flynn Downs, that gives us a depth as well. So it's perfect. On top of that, we've got Potts, who was at Wycombe Wanderers, Freddie Potts, who was at Wycombe Wanderers and had a fantastic season last season. You know, got the Player of the Year. Another very talented player. I don't want to see him go out on loan again, because I don't want to see a repeat of Josh Cullen, where the player just keeps on repeatedly getting put out on loan. He's another one that could come in like Earthy has, and I think he'll kick on. I think he'll really grab the opportunity. He's a proper player. He's had a year playing lower league football now, so he's a man now, effectively. You know, he can take the rough and tumble. He's a player that I'd like to see us get. Another one of those that I'd like to see in and around the first squad, give him meaningful minutes, 100%. You got George Earthy in there as well. I forgot Casey in defence. Casey's one that's got to come in as a backup in defence, and a player that's, do you know what? Just give him minutes at the end of games, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Just get these players on, give them regular minutes, let them bed in. George Earthy obviously goes without saying, fantastic talent. We've all seen a little bit of him. We want to see more. And there's plenty of others that I've not even mentioned, and I can't go through all the youth team players. People like Dan Chester's, you know, Gideon Kadua and players. There's loads of them. There's loads that we've got in our youth team. There really, really is. So really good for a guy like Lopetegui, who in the past, he worked with the Spanish national team at the underage groups. He knows how to work with younger players. So it should work. This should work. Right, in terms of your wide areas, we know that we're going to be going out and recruiting a left winger. 100%, maybe 2. So I'm hoping it's going to be Wesley, and I don't think Zaha is going to happen. From what I've been told, Zaha is not going to happen. Although that can all change again. You know, I thought it was going to happen up until about a week ago, but apparently not now. So Wesley looks like that's a bit of a goer, or that Jota Silva as well. They're both left wingers, brilliant players. Obviously, we know that we've got Bowen and Kudus, whose best positions are on the right. I'm going to argue about that. Actually, Bowen's best position is on the right. Kudus's best position is in that 10. play him centrally, and I think that's where we're going to see him played. I really, really do. I do. I think we're going to see us build our team around him, particularly if Paqueta goes. If Paqueta leaves, there's no competition for places there. I think you'll see Kudus become the linchpin of our team. We'll build around him, and why wouldn't you? You know, he's fantastic. So that could be exciting as well. Antonio, I think, will be kept around. I think he could work in a Lopetegui system. He's a battering ram. You know, he holds the ball up brilliantly well. You know, I'll tell you who else would have been brilliant in this system, the way that Lopetegui likes to play. Scamacca. Don't know whether you all saw him in the final last night. I mean, Atalanta blew Leverkusen away, didn't they? You know, and had no respect. Did they not know that Leverkusen and lost the game for 51 games? They absolutely tore them apart, 3-0. Ademola Lookman got a hat-trick, and that third goal, wow. He's a player, but he'll be worth a fortune now. He reminds me of like Raheem Sterling, the way that he plays, but he's got end product. Brilliant player. And yeah, Scamacca would have been great, but we're going out there. We're looking at other players. So there's talk of Boniface from Leverkusen, but that's kind of a high value player. You're looking at around about 45 million for him. Great player though. Jurassi is the one that everyone's going to be going out there for. The Stuttgart striker that's got a 17 million release clause. So he's 28, but, you know, there's going to be people vying for his signature. It's one thing, there won't be a bidding war because 17 million is 17 million, but there'll be a bidding war on teams that trigger that and negotiate with him and offer him money. That's where the bidding war is going to be. Ivan Toney is another one that we are linked with as well. And bloody En-Nesyri. En-Nesyri's back. We've been linked with him for about 5 windows. He's turned us down twice. I'd rather we didn't. I've got to be honest. Go with someone else. I don't see why you keep on going back for players that keep on knocking you back. So this is what I mean. It's very exciting. I don't think we've got to do an awful lot of work. So what is that? What have I said? A new centre-back. Because we've got Mavropanos, we've got Aguirre, we've got Casey. A new centre-back would be brilliant. And we'll probably end up keeping Zuma as a squad player as well. A new right-back. Right wing-back. That's what we need. 100%. So that's 2 players. In midfield, central midfield, I think we're covered. Although we are linked with Fofana again, who was the player that I mean, don't get me wrong. This all goes out the window. If we can go and get Fofana, I'm sold. He's a player that I really wanted, the number 1 player. And the rumour is that Monaco are willing to listen to bids of around about 25 million, something like that. So that would be an absolute snip for him. He's everything we needed. If we'd have had Fofana and Alvarez next to each other, as opposed to what we ended up with, it would have been a very different season. I'm convinced of it. You know, what David Moyes needed to see when he went to watch Fofana play Arsenal at Arsenal, score and get a man in a match before signing off on a deal, I don't know. But apparently he watched the player, didn't think he was Premier League ready, even though he was playing Arsenal, and decided to go for Ward-Prowse instead. So, but I don't think the deal's dead. I think it is something that we could do. But like I've said, what that does do, it's a bit of a dilemma, that one, because it does kind of stand in the way of other players that I would like to see come through. But if he came in, I'd be excited. Really excited. I really would be. So that's potentially 3 players. There's a left winger as well. The left winger we're talking about in Wesley. And a new striker, 5. So I reckon 5, maybe 6 players we'll see come in. And potentially some squad players. You know, someone like that, Jota Silva, because I think he's available for about 12 million. So getting a player like that, an impact player that you can get in off the bench would just be outrageous. So, yeah, that's what I think. I think that's the work that needs to be done. And hopefully it can be done ASAP. Just get all the business done. Don't leave it to the last minute. Let's get all the players in. So, look, I am thoroughly excited now. I didn't think I was going to be. I've been a bit of a grumpy bastard, haven't I? But now it's done. It's been announced, and I've listened to him talk, and it's not him. It's not David Moyes there. It's Julian Lopetegui. Yeah, I'm quite excited. I've got to be honest. I'm excited to see what happens, you know, and I'm going to judge him based on his merit, not on what he's done before, based on what he does on the pitch. So that's how I'm going to do it. So provided he can he shows the right attitude with the way that he manages a squad, sets a team up, and I'll manage him on the job that he does. I'll judge him on the job that he does. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm confident it's going to go well. Hopefully it does. And look, that's it from me. That's 25 minutes. That is a long ramble. That is a long, long ramble. All right, I'll speak to you soon. Gabby you heads.